name's Sue Karen and welcome to today's NSK Podcast, in which I speak with Joanne Knox, who is Company Director and Principal Hygienist at Pure Dental Hygiene based in Northern Ireland. Joanne opened Pure Dental Hygiene in 2020 amidst the pandemic, with the aim to grow a successful business in which she is respected and seen as a centre of excellence within the industry, offering hygiene services that complement treatments by other dental professionals. Joanne selected to use NSK equipment within her practice, and I'm interested to learn her thoughts and understand more about her journey.
It's just me in the surgery at the moment. I have a dentist coming on board in May, 2 days a month. Now she's just going to predominantly do facial aesthetics. You need a dentist on the books to facilitate the prescribing and all the sort of paperwork that is necessary, and getting drugs in and that sort of thing. So I have her coming in. She's great. She's really good. It's nice to find somebody that has the same sort of mindset as you, and she's like driven, and nothing's too much bother, and she's not sort of bogged down by bureaucracy, that she just doesn't focus on the problem, she focuses on a solution, which that's great. When I was setting up, I had a plan in mind, and that plan didn't work out with somebody local. And the computer system I was installing for the practice, I was working alongside the computer guys, and they had got to know me, and obviously they had set up her practice 2 years ago, and they got to know her, and they thought that we would be a great match. And I had said to them, I'm really struggling to get a dentist. I don't want a full-time dentist. I just want somebody, that's happy to come on board and do their thing, and they trust me, obviously. And we met a few times, and I actually am going down to do some Zoom whitening in her practice tomorrow, for the first to work with her. So I'm going to do 2 days a month with her. It's always been a dream, as soon as they changed the law, I was like, I want to be the first. I want to be the first person. I want to be the first hygienist to set up her own surgery. And I'd always said that. And then I ended up in a practice that was really very accepting and proactive in terms of hygiene. And I worked there for 15 years, and they were so supportive, and they were happy for me to pioneer this sort of direct access independent practice under that umbrella of their own dental practice. So I set that up. So in theory, I was that first one, but it wasn't truly independent, because obviously the dentist owned it all. I had no financial involvement or risk placed in that, which was fine, and it worked for a while. But then it comes a time where you sort of feel as if you want more. And the reason I set up in a pandemic was what happened was when in the midst of lockdown, my mum actually took very ill, and we had to move in with her. And I had always said, and there was one wee area in Coleraine that I said, if a building comes up there, that would be the best hygiene place for hygiene practice. And when we were living down there, I said to Mum, you would never guess what's happened. This building has come up for rent, but Mum was terminally ill. We were in the midst of a pandemic, and there was so much going on. I never ever thought any more about it. Mum then died in August, and she left money specifically in her will. At that point, the building was still free, and the money was there, because you couldn't have got a loan for this sort of business in this sort of time. It just wouldn't have happened. So we just went for it then. We all do things that disappoint our parents, and you always sort of, but I do know at the bottom of my heart that she would have loved this. And I just wish she was here to see it. I'm in the Ulster Tatler magazine this month, talking about the setup, and she loved the Tatler. And I can just imagine her and all her buddies sitting down coffee going, this is it, that's my grandson, and that's nice. That is nice. But it's given me an element of freedom and a challenge, and it's probably got me through this, because it just diverts your focus, because it's always a wee bit traumatic, at the end. And now it's sort of your focus is then taking another direction, and I'm loving it. I have to say, I love it. I love, none of it feels like work. That's because I've always been work driven. I love what I do, but there's always other things that come in and get in the way, practice politics and difficult staff members or whatever. And we don't have any of that here because there's just two of us. So it's just very easy going so far. There is stressful things, and there's things you've got to do, but none of it feels like work. It's a different lifestyle, which I'm really enjoying. At the end of September, we signed for the building for the beginning of October, and the planning started then, and I actually got married on the 17th of October. And because if you're going to do one thing in the year, why not just do the whole lot? We got a lockdown wedding, and that we got married on the Saturday, and the actual physical work started on that Monday. Then we just kept the head down and just kept going, because there was a lot of hurdles to jump over and things to work through. But I knew I had an end game and a focus, and I just focused on that. And nothing was ever simple. Nothing ever runs to plan, from even the likes of nobody's created a book to tell you how to do this sort of thing. So I discovered that obviously you had to ask the GDC to approach them to get your company name and that sort of thing. So that once that was sorted, there's just a conveyor belt of issues to sort through and quotes to get and things just to get organized. But my husband actually did the building of the practice. So he's a spark by trade. So he did all sort of manual work and plumbing and wiring and that sort of thing. So that saved a bit of money, and that meant I could be hands-on. And BF Mulholland were the dental company that have been absolutely fab. They just advised and did everything that I needed them to do, and are on call pretty much 24/7 when I have a stupid question, because this is a steep learning curve, because I just used to walk into work and clean teeth, and that was the height of what I had to do. But now you're sort of having to do accountancy and engineering and those sort of things that you're having to sort of navigate. But it's all fun, and it definitely helps if you have a sort of go-to team of, if that happens, you phone them, and I've got great support that way. On a whole, the industry has backed me. I think some maybe find it a bit intimidating, and that's another side to it. But at the end of the day, there's enough patients for everybody, and we're all here to do the same job. We want to bring good quality patient care to everybody that walks through each of our doors. So I just tend to focus on the people that walk through my door, and everybody else gets on with the ones that walk through theirs. My major marketing was done on Facebook, and once I had the company registered, come post Christmas, I did start to market it. And then I sort of built up a waiting list for when I opened. So I had established my website, and you could contact me via the website and put your name on a waiting list. So I had 120 on a waiting list before I started, which it allowed me to sleep sometimes, and then once then I started to push things more on Facebook, and I built a wee bit of momentum. And then this month I've done Local Women, which is the magazine article, and I've got a good number of patients out of that. Support it's just finding different. Not everybody uses Facebook, and Facebook's fab, but so sort of my demographic would be the slightly older generation maybe, and I wouldn't think they would be that Facebook savvy. So that's why I went down more of a magazine route, just to highlight the need, because also people, with dentists being so restricted at the moment, people are looking to get their teeth just looked at and just maintained. And the majority of the patients I've seen, and I've worked it out, it's 90% of the patients I have seen have never seen a hygienist before. I think the worry was that I was going to come from a practice and bring a lot of patients with me, but that wasn't my goal in any way. You know, you want to educate people in the need and the benefits and the perks of seeing a hygienist regularly. And I can't actually believe, you know, the actual physical need there is out there. And
Yeah.
actually people not realizing that it never ceases to baffle me, but the public seem to have got the idea that you could only see a hygienist with a referral from a dentist. They got that memo and they haven't let it go. I don't know whether the fact that it's an independent and there's no necessarily associated dentist with it, they feel a wee bit more comfortable in coming and they're not betraying their dentist or something. I don't know, but it's definitely a very interesting statistic. And why would you not have, you know, gone to a hygienist before? When we advertise direct access, I advertised that quite heavily for years. Next month, my online booking system will be up and running, and I think just the ease and not having to have a big waiting list and ability to book appointments whenever it suits you rather than having to phone. Nobody phones anymore. I've installed phones and I sort of wonder why bother. They're contacting me via either Facebook or email. More so now after lockdown, because again, nobody wants to talk to anybody. They just have this efficient way of working. And I think that's going to be it also works in my favor, because then it just means I don't have to employ a receptionist. And I don't think for a while people will want to come into contact with an awful lot of people thing. And I think that's what the general feedback would be. You know, my dentist never had the time to tell me that. I've never heard of that. There was never, you know, they didn't spend the time, and I totally understand the issues dentists face in terms of, you know, they have to keep things moving, and I guess patients sometimes feel as if they're a bit rushed. I suppose it's the same as going to the GP. I'm also absolutely shocked on the limited knowledge that patients have, and you know, I'm mad into treating perio. People aren't necessarily massively into perio. They want nice clean teeth. What I'm trying to do now with each patient, if a patient has a lot of stain or a lot of tartar, I'm taking photographs of that and showing them in the camera, and then doing like a before and after. They'll use that for a bit of promotion. Look at my teeth before and look at them now. Like showing pictures of swollen gums and healthy gums is still too subtle for them to, even though it's blatantly obvious to us. Also, the relationship with healthy gums and unhealthy gums to systemic illnesses. You know, people you would have thought are more health driven, but still neglect to realize the significance of healthy gums to healthy. Funny, I had somebody with a heart attack history in earlier, and no idea, no. In fact, was blown away by the thought of it could be significant, you know, and it's all about educating, isn't it? You know, promoting one specific message that does spread eventually. On the whole, I've been pretty well supported. I'm actually next door to an orthodontist, directly next door, and they've been fantastic. So he's a specialist orthodontist. So if we sort of work together in some things. I have a local dentist that's great support and great encouragement. Others would be a wee bit more wary because of I understand that it's fear of the unknown too. But on the whole, I find that people in the industry have been really supportive. I love doing periodontal patients. You know, that's a really rewarding part of my job. So I would certainly be open to dental referrals, and I have just set up on the website a facility where a dentist can just enter the website and enter the patient's details, and it'll come directly to my email. I've sent a few letters and packs out to some dentists, and I'm just trying to work my way through them, you know, explaining the services that I offer. And these are dentists that don't have hygienists. I'm not interested in taking hygienists jobs. But I'm interested in, dentists that don't offer a hygiene service, that my facilities are open as a good adjunct to theirs, and to see me as an adjunct, because I'm happy to work very much closely with all of them. One of the big benefits of setting up mid-pandemic is you could build the surgery around the pandemic and the needs that has created. So this surgery probably isn't anything like what a surgery would have been this time 2 years ago. But so for me, I have 2 individual surgeries to allow for a fallow time in one to another. I have air filtration systems in both surgeries. I've installed a donning and doffing room, which is a wash machine and tumble dryer. So all our gowns are washable, and after each patient, that all goes into the donning and doffing room. And then I wanted, this is a personal thing too. I knew that our PPE system wasn't going to change. We're going to have to wear a lot of, but I wanted to be relatively sustainable, and I was uncomfortable with bringing in plastic stuff for disposing all the time. So I figured that if we installed the donning and doffing room, and I actually found a designer in Wales who had diversified in lockdown. She would have done a lot of stuff for the arts, and in lockdown she had no work, so then was making surgical gowns, and they're fab. What I struggled with plastic was they were really sweaty, and they were fragile, and this is a material that's waterproof but breathable, and washes fab and dries really quickly. So we've got about 20 gowns that we just turn around. And so I just hope that it continues to be seen as an acceptable means of PPE management. I heard that potentially that it was all going to have to be disposable, and I'm really hoping that it doesn't. And in terms of masks, we're wearing sort of Moldex, like stealth masks, which actually we're surprised how quickly we have adapted to, because I can breathe better in those. We've adapted, I suppose. When you know you have to, you just do. If I went back now, I'd feel a wee bit more too exposed. But the COVID has changed the way we have worked and the way we've set up the practice, even, with no receptionist and, one patient every hour on the hour. As maybe patients increase, we'll maybe be able to shorten that time, but I'm more than comfortable, alternating surgeries and taking our time to clean down. And because we are using an aerosol at every procedure, it's standard for us. So it's just our normal way of working. Yeah, it's here and it's on wheels. So when I go into the other surgery, if this surgery is following, it follows me. So it's all wired and plumbed, so that you literally just have a little like latch into your wall and it links it all up. But I have never used NSK before. I'd always been kind of say EMS. And the thought of changing, when you're starting anew, you want something familiar. But when I looked at the machine, it was fab. One of the variety of tips that were available, and the versatility, it was so versatile. It had the frequencies you could change, the flow of water you could change, and the airflow. I'm finding that people are finding it's just slightly more gentle and easier to manage, and it's fab. I had always had a few problems with EMS, just maintenance and it breaking down. And once what I was really acutely aware that if this goes down, I can't make money. This is my bread and butter here. It's one of the most important machines in the actual surgery. So I decided that I needed somebody that was accessible and in the country to help me maintain it. And if it did go down, there'd be somebody in the country that could come down and help. Whereas I was having to send the machines to England, at least England, and then be without them for maybe 3 weeks. That's not going to work for me, and I wasn't willing to sort of buy 2 machines just in case, because that's how I survived in the last place. I had 2 machines, so right. I had another alternative, but I don't have that here. So Johnny sings like, I haven't needed him for this actually though. But it's reassuring to know that there's somebody in the country that if something happens, that they can come down and offer me an alternative. I have an NSK autoclave as well, and we had some teething problems with it, and it was purely teething problems. I wasn't actually sure if it was the actual autoclave or actually me, but Johnny was super. Like, it's just for somebody like me that is learning as we go and hadn't really understood all the ins and outs of all the bits of equipment. It's really good to have that sort of backup. So I couldn't recommend it more, really. That whole team in this whole process has nearly become like family, because you have a specific person for one issue that you would just totally, I need to go to Johnny for that, or Siobhan for that, or that level of support for somebody like me who is totally green and starting out is priceless, really. They've thought everything through. Like, it's genius. Some of the tips are absolutely, they're just such fun to use, as well as so effective. So I really enjoy the equipment now. The iClave, which is tab 2. So you literally hold your phone over the little thing at the back, and it downloads all your data, and it's been great. Again, Johnny was priceless in that, because again, I was a dental nurse by trade 20 years ago, but things have changed, and the sterilising setup, and the decon room setup, and he was fab and helping me along that way.
I would like to thank Joanne for her time today. It was certainly a very engaging interview. If you would like to learn more about NSK's range of oral hygiene and infection control products, please visit mynsk.co.uk. Thank you.